Hi, it's Chef Rick, and today I'm making duck à l'orange. So the first thing that we're going to start making is the orange sauce, and we're going to make a very light caramel by adding a small splash of water to some sugar and bringing that to the boil. Make sure that it's all incorporated, just give it a little mix around like that. Now you just want to leave this on the simmer and don't stir it, don't do anything else. And before your eyes, because you've got to keep your eyes on this is going to start to change colour. It's going to go a very, very light gold first of all. It's going to get a deeper, more caramel coloured because this is caramel, so the caramel colour is real caramel. But in the blink of an eye, this can go dark, dark brown and then black and be ruined. So you need to watch it. And you see how quickly that's happening? So we're just getting that lovely gold coming through. I'll let it kind of probably go one shade darker than that, and then I'm happy with it. There we go. So that's about where I want it. Now we're going to add some red wine vinegar. And this is going to be the base of our sauce. So there's obvious sweetness from the caramel, the sourness from the vinegar that's just come through. We're just going to add the most tiny bit of spice with some black peppercorns, and we're just going to let that cook. The steam that's coming off is obviously water leaving the sauce, and that's what we want because we want this to start thickening up. So now I add some blood orange juice. Don't use anything kind of when it says from a concentrate. You want to get pure orange juice. Normal orange is fine, but I like to use blood orange because I think it adds a beautiful kind of extra element in the flavour of it, which is a tiny bit bitter, but not in any way that's going to put you off in the most wonderful way, and the redness really adds a beautiful colour to the orange sauce, I think. So yeah, I would cook this till it's reduced. You can just see the texture on the spoon like that. You know, it's thickening again from where it once was, and you can see now, based on how much liquid was in there versus how much is in there now, that it's reducing, that it's really concentrating, that we're getting rid of the water, the sauce is thickening slightly, and those flavours are just coming on really, really well. Now I'm going to add chicken stock, and you can see how lovely and thin that is. I mean, that's pretty much our sauce, but we want to now just again reduce this until it's the right texture for us and the right consistency for us. So like we've just done previously, just by reducing it, all that steam that's coming off is water leaving this, and the flavours are getting more and more concentrated, and the sauce is getting thicker as well. So now you can see it's thickening up really nicely. It's kind of just a bit of the way the light is there. It's not quite as dark as it appears. You'll see in a moment that it is still kind of light, but the sauce has thickened up somewhat. And also, once you take this off the heat and leave this on the, ready for serving, it is going to thicken up again slightly. So you probably want it a little thinner than you're actually going to serve it pre-cooling. Get rid of the peppercorns. And there you go, look at that. That's an absolutely beautiful orange sauce. That's around about the texture that we want. That's going to be absolutely perfect for us. And we can leave that on the side up until we're ready to serve. Now you can use any potatoes with this. Don't worry too much about these ones. These are just almost like little skin-on roast potatoes. I just think the duck and the orange is the real star of the show here. The potatoes on the side are almost secondary. But what we've done is I've just taken some new potatoes, chopped them in half, kept the skins on. I'm going to parboil them, which means I'm just going to boil them not until they're completely cooked, just until they've softened ever so slightly. So I'll probably boil them for between 5 and 10 minutes. In a roasting pan with a little bit of olive oil, some salt and pepper, and now I'm just going to roast those in the oven for around about half an hour because, like I say, they're absolutely delicious. They're really, really simple, but I do not want the potatoes to be the star of this show. Any potatoes will do. So there we go. These have had around about half an hour or so. Give them a mix around, make sure they're all covered in the oil, make sure they're all nicely seasoned, and that's going to be your potatoes. This is our garlic spinach, which we use in so many of the dishes. So we just use some olive oil in a pan and some garlic puree. Get that all mixed round so it's lovely and aromatic. Aromatic means that really strong smell of the garlic is coming out through the oil. And we're going to add some washed spinach to the pan. This is just for a couple of people, you'll see, and you know, when we cook spinach, it reduces massively when you cook it down. So you're just going to add that spinach to the garlic and oil, and just keep moving that around the pan. This pan's on around about a medium heat. You see how it just keeps getting smaller and smaller and easier to move around. And once you get to a time where you can clear enough space, you can free up enough space in your pan, you can add some more spinach. Don't add that spinach too long after adding the first lot. Anytime within the first sort of 2 minutes of adding it. Otherwise, your two spinaches are going to be cooking at completely different speeds, and you'll get different textures and moistures out of different ones. So try and add it as soon as you can. And if you've got a ginormous pan, add it all in one go, obviously. Just keep stirring that around now, just making sure that it's all nice and it's all kind of wilting. Wilting is when it shrinks and it goes that lovely dark green. Scrape the spinach to one side of the pan and let the natural waters that are just going to fall down to the edge, just let them fall down. Bring that spinach together again and squeeze it slightly to get rid of this water, because this is no good to us in the pan. Get rid of that, bring that spinach back to the pan. If you want to do that again, if you can see more and more water forming, then do it again, but it seems I'd squeezed most of the water out of mine, so I didn't need to go back. But now you are just cooking that beautiful garlicky spinach in the pan. It's not going to be over wet, it's going to be a lovely texture. You can put a lid on that up until it's ready to serve. That's how quick and simple that spinach is. Now our duck breasts. So like the chicken breast, always just give it a good feel. Make sure if there's anything connecting or any tiny bits that are just hanging off at all, just make sure it's all lovely and clean. Score the skin, which just means cutting down through the skin right up until you reach the breast, not cutting actually through the meat, but just cutting through the skin. Normally I only score it once like that in a lengthways, and that's been perfect for me. This time I scored it again across, which was unnecessary, didn't affect it at all, but I've had equally good kind of amazing results just from slicing it one way. So don't worry too much about slicing it in both directions, but just make sure you always slice it in one way. Scoring the skin, and then we add some fresh salt. Then we add the duck breast skin side down to a cold pan. There's no heat on that pan at all, that is a cold pan. Then we turn the heat on and we leave it. With no oil either, there's no oil in there. You'll see how much fat, how much oil comes off the fat there. So you'll start to see that, you can see there that it's bubbling away, that some of that fat is dripping off, and you'll get an idea of how much is coming off it when we do that. There you go. See how much oil is coming out of the pan. Some people like to drain this off at this point. I don't. I want to use that oil for the whole of the cooking process of this breast. So you see, I'm just keeping them skin side down. Keep pressing them against the pan. You can turn them over and have a check to see if that skin's cooking, but don't worry, you've got plenty of time here. So I'm probably going to cook these for about 15 minutes from the pan being cold till they get to this sort of stage. You can see where we're checking them, and you can see that skin is going lovely and crispy and golden. So you can just keep cooking these there until that fat has gone to exactly how you want it. If you want it kind of a bit darker, super crispy, then just leave it a little bit longer. But I would say to cook these, like I say, skin side down for probably 15 to 20 minutes. Then I will turn them over. Obviously, you saw that we're seasoned with salt on the other side that's now facing the pan. And we're just going to baste using those, using all that duck fat, the crispy skin, which is only making it more and more crispy and more shiny and more lovely. You do not. This side that we're going to actually cook the duck on, we probably only want to cook it for 2 or 3 minutes, whereas the fat side, or the skin side should I say, sorry, you can cook for you can cook for as long as you want, because it's the skin that's reducing it, it's not cooking the meat. That makes sense. Sear the sides as well of the duck, just so it gets that lovely colour to it, a little bit of caramelisation. So you're searing your duck all around. And then take those off the heat. Put them onto a baking tray. and then they're going to go into the oven for around about 10 minutes. And here they are done. Looking absolutely fantastic. But as we always do, we're just going to put those into a nice little foil tent, leave those on the side, leave them for as long as we cook them for. So we're probably going to leave them in total for about 20 minutes. They're still lovely and hot. And now it comes to carving, which is so easy. With duck, first thing that we'll do is chop down, and chop half the duck into slices. That's what I would call kind of a medium rare. With duck, you don't really want rare, because when it gets blood on it, whereas on a beef steak blood looks pretty good, on a duck steak it doesn't, so you kind of want it to be medium. On a duck breast, sorry, you want it to be kind of a medium rare. We put some of the spinach out on the plate, and then we pile our duck on top. So we put half of the duck breast unsliced, which is going to stay lovely and hot, and half of it sliced along the side, so you can just take those little slivers, and once you've eaten those lovely slices, you can then go back and start cutting the other bit exactly how you want it. Potatoes on the side. Just going to drizzle over some of that absolutely beautiful orange sauce, and then kind of little drizzle it around the plate. A little bit chefy, a little bit showy off the way you're drizzling it around the plate, but there's a point to it. You'll want that sauce, but it's so kind of strong and powerful and punchy and sweet and bitter that you don't want too much of it. You do want it in those small bits. And here we go, let's try it. You can see that that duck is absolutely cooked perfectly. It's just so soft, so sweet, so rich. It's got the sourness from the orange. It's got that beautiful rich garlickiness from the spinach. The potatoes are there to just kind of hold everything together. It's an amazing dish. There's no it's obvious why it's a classic. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy making it yourselves. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one.